All right, now it is finally time to talk about the Tyre Nichols story that has been gripping the country for the past around a week or so. With these types of stories, I think it's better to hold off a little bit on covering them immediately until we get the most information possible, and then just do a broader look at what happened, what we know, because with a case like this so prominent in national news and with information being released every day, you could if you cover this too early, then you would be working with outdated information. But we are now at a point where the body cam videos have been released that happened on Friday evening at around 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Officers involved have been fired and charged with second-degree murder, and that was their preliminary charges, and now there have been other ones tacked onto that. And basically, what happened for people who aren't entirely sure. Tyre Nichols was pulled over by this Memphis so-called Scorpion unit that has been disbanded after this incident happened. He was pulled over at some type of traffic stop. The circumstances around that are still unclear, but he was pulled over by some traffic stop, and the five officers involved gave him 71 conflicting commands in just 13 seconds, and he was getting beaten and tased and restrained and all of these things, and he eventually died 3 days later after this attack on him by the police, which has everyone saying everyone who actually knows stuff about criminal law and police force, saying that this was a reckless act by police, totally unjustified, and something that should have never happened. And now, because of that, we've lost yet another black man to police violence in the United States, which in turn has fired up a lot of the social justice movements. Once again, this death being compared to the death of George Floyd in 2020, another man who was a victim of overuse of force by police, and um, the police being unwilling to actually care about his well-being and abusing the power, mistreatment, and now in both cases we have criminal charges being brought to the perpetrators of um, this injury. So specifically, what do the body cam and surveillance footage show is what is big question that got answered on Friday night as this footage got released to the public. Nichols being kicked, punched in the head while being restrained, pepper sprayed, struck multiple times with a baton, guns drawn uh, by the cops. Nichols saying that he's just trying to get home, getting tased, and eventually Nichols quote breaks loose and runs down the street, obviously very distressed by being a victim of this overuse of force. And second video from street camera, more restraining, more beating at another um, location, just a brutal display of inhumanity and overuse of force by um, the police officer saying to get him up, and then Nichols sitting on the street, back behind his car, hands behind him, bleeding from the side of his head, barely able to move after just being a victim of minutes and minutes of um, I think the exact timing was a while. I think it hit around an hour before EMT actually got there, which is a whole other question about why medical services were taking so long to actually show up and help him. And then 3 days after the brutal beating, Nichols did sadly pass away from um, his injury that he sustained during this attack. Memphis police reacted very quickly. All of these five officers were fired on the 20th, and as I mentioned before, facing various criminal charges, most serious one being second-degree murder. And the latest update today is that the sixth officer has also been relieved of their of his duty. Not yet clear what his involvement exactly was, but along the lines of mistreatment or lack of caring and and doing what his job was supposed to be, to actually take care of people and not fostering the abuse that the other five officers were doing and uh, doing. The other charges were aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. So very serious punishments that coming to these five officers who are pictured here. Second degree murder punishable by 15 to 60 years in prison under state law. This happening in Memphis, Tennessee. So in this case, is another sad example of police brutality in the United States and against black men who continue to seem to be the victims of these incidents over and over and over again. And that reality has been a base for all of these social justice movements that come back and even stronger for us after these incidents, always advocating for change. And will we actually get anything changed uh, majorly after this incident? Well, no, probably not. But we already saw Memphis disbanding the police unit that was responsible for this, which was an action that many people praised and um, that many police and justice leaders are hoping that get copied by other uh, police units across the country to disband these units that use this intentional force instead of resolving the manner through civil and other methods besides that don't involve beatings and all of this abuse of power. So this case has been national tragedy, and we're seeing a lot of developments each day, and in a week we might find out some new information about this case. But for now, it's a good time to summarize everything that has happened and give a broader context since a lot of information has come out within the past week.